So what is the difference between a Toyota Bundera, a mid-wheelbase and a Shorty? Jillaroo Jess and I, we're going to answer that question. Here at MadMatt 4-Wheel Drive, I'm all about educating and building the 4-wheel drive community so we can go out there and wheel well. I would love you to hit that subscribe button or hit the bell so you can get the notifications. So it's not often you get the opportunity to get all three of these vehicles together. And the cool thing is Jess has got two of them, I've got one of them, and we're working together. So we've gone, let's do this video. So that's where this has come about. So let's go over and check out the Bundera, and then we'll just get into this video and have a chat about these differences.
We always get asked, what is the difference between the vehicles? Or someone will come up to one of ours and be like, hey, I love your Shorty, or to me, hey, Jess, I love your Bundera, yes. And it's not right. And that's okay, but today we're going to explain what the differences are.
So this is a Bundera, and some of the key things you'll notice is the front ends are going to look quite different. Now we're going to get Jess to head over to a Middy in a second, and we're going to point out some of those differences. One of the key things about it, when Toyota built these, they still wanted them to have the look of the original Toyotas. So they tried to keep that in all of these vehicles. And that's where I think some of the confusion comes for people when they look at these, because they basically call both your 4-wheel drives Bunderas, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Well, mine's the only actual Bundera here. So Jess, how about you head over and let's start showing people some of the differences. So there's a couple of key things at the front end that you look for. The first thing, indicators. See how my indicator is part of the body. Jess will show you how her indicator sits.
So my indicator sticks out a lot more than Matt's does. Also, the guard here. Matt doesn't have one of these bad boys.
No, Jess, I don't have one of those bad boys. I've got a little boy. See how this guard isn't bolted on like Jess's is. It actually forms part of the outer guard. So that's one of the key differences. The other thing to look for on the Bundera, now I can't example it to you on mine because I've cut them off, but this section under the headlight here will usually come down about that far. And it's like that front valiance under the headlights is another difference to look for, and that's specific to the Bunderas.
Now this is a really obvious difference. You can see that the windscreen here folds down. Now that's because it's got an FRP back on it, which is a fiberglass back that you can pull on and off. There is one version of the Bundera that has it, but generally speaking, the Middys are the ones with the fold down windscreens.
That's right, Jess, there was one Bundera that did have a soft top, and that front windscreen could also fold down. Now let's have a look at the differences in wheelbase.
The most obvious difference between the two, the mid-wheelbase and the Bundera, is the length of the chassis. That's why we call it a Middy. There's a Shorty and a Middy. So if you look behind the door here, there's a big gap there. Now we don't have that on the Bundy or the Shorty.
Now with the Bundera and Jess's Shorty, the key difference you look for is right here. From the door to the wheel arch, it's only about that far, and that's what makes them the Shorty. Now let's go and have a look at the suspension and driveline differences.
So both the Middy and the Shorty are leaf sprung, and their driveline is based on a 60 series.
The Bundera is based more on a Hilux. Now I reckon they actually went out to the parts bin and just basically cobbled together all sorts of leftover bits to pull together the suspension for the Bundera. So 4 coil springs, that's really cool. They have radius arms, front and rear, so it's like a 3-link suspension, which is basically the only Land Cruiser that's done that suspension design. Now it does mean that I get a pretty good ride, at least I get a far better ride than anything leaf sprung.
Oh, hold on a minute, leafs are all right.
No, they're not.
Well, on this it's all right because it's got the longest chassis, but the Shorty there's not too comfortable.
No, I bet. I mean, one of the things with the short wheelbase vehicles is they pitch and yaw. So the coil springs handle that a lot better than a leaf sprung would. And I agree that the mid-wheelbase has a not too bad a ride, but yeah, riding around in Jess's Shorty, that's bone jarring, isn't it?
It is.
So we might have 3 models here, but there's actually numerous other variants within each model class. Now we're not going to go into every element of it, but we are going to touch on some of the motor variants in these little trucks, Jess.
We are, sorry, what? A truck?
Yeah, these little
this
trucks.
Is not a truck. If you, does this have 18 speeds in it?
No, it's got like 10. It does. Low range.
1 slug.
Oh, don't be like that. What are you? Just because you're a truckie doesn't mean that this isn't a truck. I love it. It's a great.
This is a Tonka truck. You need to paint it yellow.
I'm with you on that. My little Tonka truck. Yeah, all right. Well, just because you're a truckie, let's get back to the motors.
All right, so in the Shorty and the Middy, I've got a 3B, which is a 4-cylinder diesel engine. Now they do come in the 13BT, which is a 4-cylinder turbo. Unfortunately, I haven't got the turbo yet.
Okay, get one.
I will. And they also come in the 3F, which is petrol.
So the 3F is actually a 6-cylinder petrol as well, carburetted. Now the Bundera's had a number of different engines. They had the RJ70, which is what this Bundera is a petrol 2.4 carburetted motor, not a lot of power and loved to drink petrol. And then you've got the LJ70, which was the diesel variant. It was a 2.4 turbocharged diesel motor. Again, gutless as anything, but hey, they were what came out in the day and people thought they were fantastic.
The Middy came in both manual and auto. The Shorty only came in manual. What did the Bundy come in?
It came with a G52 gearbox, which is a 5-speed gearbox coming out of the Hilux range of vehicles. And they didn't actually put an automatic into the Bunderas in the Australian market. I believe some overseas markets did get an automatic. And I reckon auto in these would be it'd be absolutely perfect, I reckon.
Oh, well, next job for you.
Yeah, I looked into it once. Mark's four-wheel drive adapters.
Yeah.
They could do a kit. People have done it.
See this next time on MadMatt.
Well, Jess, I've already fairly modified this. It's got the V6 3.8 litre in there, and maybe I should do the auto, but what are you going to do with the Middy?
I just like to tidy it up a bit. I mean, yours is a really good example of what you've done. So yeah, I'd like to clean it up, get all the rust out and make it roadworthy, maybe change the engine or just put a turbo in there. So I'm pretty excited to what I can do.
Well, you know what? When you get that done, and I'm happy to help you get it done, but when you get that done, let's go wheeling together and do a video about that. Would you be up for it?
Definitely.
All right. Well, I am so grateful for you sharing the passion for these great little trucks. They're getting on in the tooth now. I mean, you can put them on historic rego in New South Wales, which is cool. But I love that you've got a passion for it. I love the people that do have a passion for it. And you know what? I hope that this has helped you understand some of the differences so that next time you see one out there in the car park, you can go up and say, I really do like your Bundera, and point to the Bundera, not the Middy. I'm MadMatt. Stay safe on the trails.